Kim here from Kyms Homestead. How are you all today? All doing well, I hope? Well, we're in the kitchen today and I've got a mountain of tomatoes. So I thought one of the things that I need on my shelf is some ketchup, because later on I plan on making my own baked bean sauce. So I need a reasonable amount of ketchup for that. Rather than buying it, I may as well make it. I've never made it before, so this is a first for me. So first thing I'm going to do is put the tomatoes that I currently have on to cook. So they're all going into the crock pot. They're all beautifully ripe. So I'm just going to chop them up so that they will break down, and once they're all cooked down a bit, I'm just putting them in the crock pot here. Once they're all cooked down and released their water, I will remove some water and I will probably put them through my tomato press to take the skins and the seeds out, because I'm not going to peel them. I just don't have the time. So all I'm going to do is take the tops off them, cut them in half or quarters depending on the size, and cook them down. And there we go. These are just all the fresh ones at the moment. The crock pot is on and turned down to low. These will cook away for the next few hours, and as they break down and go down into the pot, I'll keep adding the frozen tomatoes until the pot is absolutely full, and then I will just take off as much liquid as I can and let it simmer away until we're ready for the next step in making the ketchup. So I'll bring you back then. Okay, so I've had this on now for all night, and what I'm doing now is just taking off some of the liquid . Well, actually I didn't have it on all night. I had it on most of yesterday, and now just taking off the liquid and straining it. When I'm finished putting in all the tomatoes that are in my freezer, then I will run it through the tomato mill that I have. That will take off all the skins and the seeds, so I'll be just left with a good tomato paste, and this juice I will can up or put in the freezer, and I'll use it in my cooking over the next few months. Right, that's about all I'm going to get out of there for a little bit. Now, in here I have some tomatoes thawing. Now, tomatoes that have been frozen are very, very juicy, so I'm going to save all the juice from in the bag. And pop these tomatoes in for processing. Now I will get the next bag of tomatoes out of the freezer, ready to go in here as soon as they're melted down enough. I'll continue to do that until this whole crock pot is full of just tomatoes and they're ready to be de-skinned and de-seeded. Well friends, this is where I'm trying out my new mic and discover it doesn't work properly. So I'm showing you the Blue Book of Home Preserving that I got this tomato ketchup recipe out of. And here I am reading you the ingredients, which is what I'll do now. So what you need is 4 quarts of chopped peeled tomatoes, which is about 24 large tomatoes, 1 cup of chopped onion, half a cup of chopped red bell pepper, 1.5 teaspoons of celery seed, 1 teaspoon whole allspice, 1 teaspoon mustard seed, 1 stick of cinnamon, 1 cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon of pickling salt, 1 tablespoon of paprika, 1.5 cups of vinegar for the 5% acidity. So what I had was a little bit of green bell pepper, I had a little bit of dried red pepper that I'd put away a previous year, and I had some zucchini there, and I thought, why not? So I've added it all into the tomato sauce that I have there. Now I'm not sure where the red peppers that I had. I think they were from the bushes, not last year but the year before. I had a few red capsicums and that on a plant. I don't even remember what variety they were, so if there's any hot ones in there, I'm gonna know it later on. I'm pretty sure they were all cayenne, paprika peppers, so which will go in this okay anyway. So all I do is mix them all in, and this bag of chopped onions is the last of the onions that I had chopped that came out of the garden. So most of the veggies, well, pretty much all the veggies that I've used have come out of the garden, which is a really good way of getting rid of all the excess that I have. There's my little bag of spices, as well as all the other spices that are going into the mix, and I'm using white vinegar. So now I'm just going to pop all this back into the slow cooker. It has all been scrubbed out. It's nice and clean again. Let's just turn you around here. There we go. You can almost see the rest of the pot. There we go. There's that silly looking mic that I can't seem to get working. Right, all into the slow cooker. I'm going to let this cook down for a good 24 hours. You can do this all in one day if you've got the time and energy, but I don't, so I didn't. There goes a cup of sugar. Next time I don't think I'll use as much sugar. The mixture was a little sweet for my liking. There goes all the spices. And now for 1.5 cups of white vinegar. And once again, I don't think I'll use as much vinegar next time, probably just 1 cup. But I was following the recipe and it said 1.5 cups. I think that was probably just a little too much actually. So there we go. Now to just give it a good stir in, make sure it's all mixed together, and the spice bag is well and truly underneath the liquid. We want all those lovely spices out into the recipe. All there is to do now is put the lid on and just let it bubble away for a few hours, and then I'll turn it off and then probably put it through the passata mill later on today. So now, time to put the lid on again and get the tomato mill ready to go. Well, now that the mill's all set up, it's time to start feeding it through. So I've just got a 1 cup measure and I'm just going to pour it into the mill by the cupful, around about 3 cups, maybe 4 cups at a time, and then just turn the little handle, and all you see is the pulp and that coming through, and the skins are all coming through to where the blue ice cream container is. So I just finish and go through until I've got all the pulp out of the crock pot. It doesn't take long and it's all done. The mixture is reasonably sloppy still, coming out where the skins and that are, but I'll actually put that through another couple of times and get the rest of the pulp off the skins. So the pot's nearly empty now, and it's nearly time to go and get a oven mitt and pour the rest into the top of the food mill. Making sure I get all the sides, of course, and making sure I don't burn myself, because the crock pot is heavy and pretty darned hot as well. So in it all goes. And there we crank out the rest of what's in the food mill. Now, time to empty the what's come out of the skins and that back in and feed it through a second time, and as you see, it's a lot drier than when it came out the first time. So there's still a lot of goodness in that pulp. So it's going to go through for a third time. And what comes out now this time is fairly dry. It's a bit harder to push through there. And you'll see it coming out, it's a lot thicker than when it first started coming out.
Yep.
Time to clean up the mill. Get it all ready for washing up and cleaned up, ready for the next round. Now it's time to get everything ready for canning the sauce. It takes about 2 cups and it's full. Yeah, that other one wasn't going to work, and of course you've got to taste it before you can it. Make sure it's all pretty good. It's actually come out nice and thick, so I'm quite pleased with how the first lot has turned out. And of course with these jars that big funnel won't work, so I've got to change the funnels. And these lug jars are just second-hand jars that I have, and they work out quite well. And of course what's left there is only a small jar worth, so I thought, well, it'll fill up the ketchup bottle, or it'll help me make the baked bean sauce that I want to can at a later date. It's probably all I need for it, really. It wasn't quite enough, and there was a little too much in the other jars, so I'm just evening up the jars here. Now it's time to make sure there's no mess on the top of the jars, You want to make sure there's no food particles on the jars, and screw down those lug lids fairly tight. They're a bit different to the ball jars where you only need them to be finger tight, but you've just got to make sure there's no food particles on the rim. All done, finger tight. Now it's time to put them all in the bubble bath, and that is into a water bath canner with about 1.5 inches of water over the top of them. Now it's time to pick up the rest of the jars and put them in the bubble bath to go with the others. Now these will go in the water bath. When it's up to the boil, they will boil away for 10 minutes. And there we go, 10 minutes in the water bath, and we're all ready for putting in the pantry. So there we have it, friends. Making ketchup for the first time. It actually turned out better than I expected. So I now have a few jars up on my shelf, which will probably actually last a couple of years. So I won't have to worry about it again for a little while, which is good. Anyway, that's it for this video, and I hope you enjoyed coming along with me making ketchup, and I will see you again very soon. If you like this video, give me a big tomatoey thumbs up, and if you're new to this channel, please think about subscribing. That would be wonderful. All right. Thanks very much, friends, and I'll see you again very shortly with another video. Bye.